Something changes as you get older. People become easier to see, even when they say nothing. One word changes. A hand trembles around a cup of coffee. A phone turns face down. Nothing is confessed. Yet the pattern has already begun. No one can wear the same face in every room. Power removes one mask. Weakness removes another. Money, shame, dependence, and the word no remove the rest. Age does not teach you to read minds. It gives you time to compare the faces people wear in different rooms. But there is one final danger. Sometimes the person before you has done nothing wrong. An old wound is simply making their behavior look familiar. Power reveals what manners conceal. Politeness has a direction. Watch where it travels. At dinner, an older man watched his friend charm everyone at the table. He praised the host, listened carefully to the wealthiest guest, laughed at every important person's story. Then a young waiter brought the wrong order. The warmth disappeared. His friend snapped his fingers, spoke as if the waiter were foolish, and demanded the manager. The waiter had confused two plates, not threatened civilization. The mistake lasted 1 minute. The contempt revealed far more. Until that moment, he had always considered his friend polite. Now he saw that the politeness moved upward, never downward. His friend was not kind. He was careful around power. Courtesy toward power may be calculation. Courtesy toward the powerless is character. One word can end a relationship that never really existed. No. One word changed the temperature of the relationship. For years, a man had given his brother money whenever he asked. Each time, his brother thanked him warmly and spoke about the importance of family. Then one morning, another request came. This time, the answer was no. The silence changed immediately. His brother reminded him of old favors, questioned his loyalty, then stopped calling. He wondered how one word could erase years of closeness. But no had not destroyed the relationship. It had removed the condition holding it together. While he kept giving, gratitude had looked like affection. The moment the giving stopped, entitlement appeared. Someone who respects you may be disappointed, but they will accept your no. Someone who feels entitled will make you pay for it. You do not need to keep defending your refusal until the other person gets the answer they wanted. Sometimes, no does not make people abandon you. It reveals that your constant yes was the only reason they stayed, which reveals a person faster, how they treat someone with no power, or how they react when you say no. People leave in language before they leave in life. Anthony, a business owner in his late 50s, sensed that his partner was preparing to leave. Nothing had been announced. No argument had taken place. But our clients became your clients. Questions about next year received answers about next week. Then something stranger happened. His partner stopped disagreeing in meetings. At first, the silence looked like cooperation. It was withdrawal. He no longer fought for ideas whose future he had already abandoned. 3 weeks later, he announced that he had accepted another position. His decision had leaked into his language before he was ready to admit it. The hardest part was knowing how to act on a truth no one had acknowledged. Anthony quietly reviewed who could access the client list and confidential files. At his age, he had made enough painful mistakes to know he could not afford to be careless again. When strength leaves, character remains. The two brothers had taken the same fishing trip every year for 27 years. This year was different. The older brother had only recently left the hospital after a serious illness. He was thinner now, and his legs were still unsteady. That morning, he needed help stepping into the boat. His younger brother carried all the bags, poured his coffee, chose his seat, and reached for him whenever he tried to stand. Finally, the older brother pulled his arm away. "I am having a difficult morning," he said. "I am not gone." His younger brother became still. Without realizing it, he had begun treating his brother as if weakness were all that remained. The older man did need help, but he did not need every choice made for him. Illness had taken some of his strength, not his judgment, his voice, or his right to decide what he could still do. He needed help getting into the boat. He did not need to be carried through the entire day. His younger brother thought doing everything for him was an act of kindness. He had forgotten to let him remain himself. If you believe that real care should preserve a person's dignity, leave a like. It helps this message reach someone who may need that reminder. Some people do not miss you. They miss your function. For years, a man was the person everyone called. He repaired what was broken, helped friends move, and showed up whenever someone needed an extra pair of hands. Then, at 62, he needed surgery. For the first time, he had nothing to offer. He was the one who needed help. Several friends promised to visit. Most never came. But a quiet neighbor who had never asked him for anything brought groceries and helped him through the first difficult weeks of recovery. The surgery had not changed these people. It had only removed his usefulness to them. The phone had been loud when he could help. It became quiet when he needed help. Seneca wrote, "He who begins to be your friend because it pays will also cease because it pays." He had mistaken being frequently needed for being deeply cared about. Some people do not miss you. They miss what you do for them. Real affection reveals itself when you have nothing left to provide. Not every mask is hiding something ugly. Tell me what you are protecting. That question stopped a 30-year friendship from collapsing beneath one more lie. One friend had lent the other money. When repayment was due, the story kept changing. First, the bank caused a delay. Then the account number was wrong. Finally, a check was supposedly lost. The lender knew his friend was lying, but instead of asking for another explanation, he asked what made the truth so difficult to tell. His friend stared at the table. His son had relapsed, and the money had gone toward another treatment program. "I thought you would ask why I keep saving someone who keeps going back." His friend had not spent the money on himself. He had spent it on a son he could not bear to give up on, and lied because he was ashamed to admit he still had hope. The lender did not erase the debt or pretend the lies had caused no damage. They agreed on a new repayment plan, but he no longer saw a selfish man trying to take advantage of him. He saw a frightened father who had made a bad decision alone because he expected judgment instead of understanding. Not every lie protects selfishness. Some protect a pain the person is afraid you will not understand. You are watching Move or Die Stoic, where Stoic wisdom helps us see people clearly without losing compassion. Subscribe if you want more reflections like this. Your recovery can threaten the person who rescued you. Edward's recovery should have made Henry happy. Instead, it began to damage their friendship. After Edward's wife died, Henry called every evening. He offered advice, made decisions, and made sure Edward was never alone. For 2 years, the friendship felt like a lifeline. Then Edward began to recover. He exercised again, made new friends, booked his first trip alone. Henry did not celebrate. He warned Edward about the risks and called the trip foolish. That was when Edward saw what grief had hidden from him. Rescuing Edward had quietly given Henry the stronger position. Edward no longer needed a guardian, he needed an equal. To Henry, no longer being needed felt like no longer being important. The person who truly loves you may miss being needed, but they will never ask you to remain broken so they can continue feeling strong. The mind can become addicted to being right. Samuel's family still trusted his judgment. They simply stopped bringing him anything beautiful. Over the years, Samuel had earned a reputation for seeing trouble before anyone else. He exposed a dishonest contractor, predicted a failed investment, and knew which friend would disappear when the favors stopped. Even good news sounded like a warning to Samuel. Then his granddaughter came to tell him about a job offer she had received. Before she could finish sharing the news, Samuel began listing everything that could go wrong. The company was too young. The promises sounded too generous. In just a few sentences, Samuel had poured cold water on her excitement. She folded the letter and changed the subject. 3 months later, Samuel learned that she had accepted the job and already received a promotion. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I needed someone to hear my good news without searching it for danger." Her answer stayed with him. Samuel had believed he was protecting his family, but predicting trouble had also given him an important place within it. If nothing was wrong, there was nothing for him to detect, and no chance to prove his value again. His family still asked for his advice when something went wrong. They had simply stopped sharing their excitement with him. As Marcus Aurelius warned, the soul is dyed by the thoughts. Samuel no longer listened to understand. He listened for the flaw that would let him say, "I knew it." The last person you learn to read is yourself. Am I reading Anna or rereading my divorce? That question stopped James from ending his relationship. Only minutes earlier, he had been certain he recognized the pattern. Anna had begun turning her phone face down during dinner, and certain calls made her leave the room. 15 years earlier, James's marriage had ended with the same small changes. Soon, he was certain another betrayal was approaching. He wrote a message ending the relationship before Anna could humiliate him. His finger rested above send. Then the question returned, "Am I reading Anna or rereading my divorce?" James deleted the message and spoke to her the next morning. Anna placed the phone between them and explained that her sister was preparing to leave a controlling husband. The private calls were helping her find somewhere safe to stay. James thought he was recognizing Anna's behavior. In reality, he was recognizing the fear his former wife had left behind. Epictetus advised, "Impression, wait for me a little. Let me see what you are and what you represent. Let me try you." James had nearly ended a good relationship to protect himself from a betrayal that was not happening. If he had sent that message, Anna would not have abandoned him. He would have pushed her away. Recognizing another person's behavior is not enough. You must also recognize what your own past is making you believe. When the pattern becomes clear, perhaps one of these people reminded you of someone. Perhaps, uncomfortably, one of them reminded you of yourself. As you get older, you understand people not because you can read their minds, but because you have watched their choices over time. You have seen how they behave when they have power, when they are refused, when they need you, and when you can no longer help them. One moment may mislead you. Repeated behavior becomes a pattern, but recognizing a pattern also gives you a responsibility. If the truth is unclear, ask once without accusing. If the behavior continues, set a boundary without anger. If staying requires you to sacrifice your peace, step away without revenge. You do not need to expose, punish, or change anyone. You only need to decide what you will continue allowing. People may hide behind explanations for a while, but over time, their repeated choices speak more clearly than any confession. If this helped you understand an old relationship, share it with someone who may need the same perspective.